Imagine reaching 65 believing you're financially safe, and then discovering that your monthly benefit doesn't even cover your basic bills. Imagine opening your Social Security letter and seeing an amount so low that you must choose between buying medication or buying food. Most Americans only discover this when it's already too late. And that's why millions of retirees fall into a silent spiral of anxiety, debt, and regret. So before we continue, do something simple that can change your future. Subscribe to the channel now, hit the like button, and comment, "I want security." This tells the algorithm that this content matters and helps it reach other people who desperately need this information. The first fatal mistake in retirement in the United States is believing that Social Security will sustain you for the rest of your life. This belief is a trap that destroys dreams, corrodes peace, and steals the dignity of people who worked for decades. Social Security was never designed to be your main income. It is a supplement, a support, a safety net, not the entire net. The problem is that most people spend 30, 40 years contributing and develop a false sense of safety. I've paid my whole life, so I'll receive enough. But the number you have in your head is not the number you will see when that check arrives. The reality is painful. On average, a retiree receives between $200 and $800 per month. Ask yourself, how much does it cost to live decently in the U.S.? Rent alone, in any average city, already consumes half of that, often more. Gas, electricity, groceries, home insurance. You step into the first month of retirement and realize the math doesn't add up. The cost of living rises. Inflation quietly eats away at your money. You age, and when you age, your body demands more. Medications, exams, specialist visits, treatments. There is no comfortable retirement on Social Security alone. There is only survival, and surviving is not living. Many retirees discover this too late. They postpone planning. They say, "I'll deal with it when the time comes." But retirement is not a single moment. It's a long journey. A journey where your income shrinks and your expenses increase. The first years may feel manageable until life hits. A diagnosis, a surgery, a fall, a sick spouse. Suddenly, your Social Security is no longer a monthly support. It's a prison, a chain that forces you to cut back on food, cancel doctors, or take cheaper medication because there is no other choice. This is where the problem begins, and it opens the door to the second mistake, the one that silently wipes out the savings of millions, withdrawing money from your retirement fund without a long-term strategy. When those monthly checks aren't enough, people start dipping into their savings as if it were bottomless. They spend what should last 20 or 25 years in just a few. And when they realize it, the money is gone, and the future becomes frightening. The second mistake begins quietly, without warning, and almost always feels like the most obvious solution. You look at your savings and tell yourself that you can simply withdraw a little every month until the money runs out. It seems logical. It feels safe. It sounds like something you deserve after a lifetime of hard work. But retirement is not a straight road. It is a road full of curves, potholes, surprises, and storms. And when you spend your money as if tomorrow will be exactly the same as today, you are signing an invisible contract with fear, What destroys millions of retirements is not the idea of using your savings. It is believing that your savings are infinite. You start by withdrawing small amounts, $300 here, $500 there, then $200 for a medical emergency, $2,000 to help a family member. And before you realize it, what should have lasted 20 or 25 years is gone in 8, maybe 10. This process is cruel because you don't feel the pain in the beginning. The balance still looks big. You check your account and feel calm. It's like ice melting on a table. For the first few minutes, it still looks solid until it disappears completely. The problem is that retirement is not linear. Your expenses do not decrease with time. They increase. Between 65 and 75, you still have energy. You are more independent. You can take care of yourself. But after 75, your body starts charging interest. Every doctor visit, every exam, every medication, every sleepless night becomes a new expense. Money leaves faster than it enters. You don't control emergencies, you don't control inflation, and you certainly do not control the way aging changes your health. And there is another detail no one talks about. You only grow old once, and you do it with no experience. Nobody reaches their 70s with practical knowledge of how to manage a fragile body. That's when retirement becomes a psychological game. You find yourself forced to withdraw more because you believe you can't wait. Surgery doesn't wait. Pain doesn't wait. Your spouse's fever doesn't wait. And every new withdrawal at 70 reduces your chance of living with dignity at 80. When you rely only on withdrawals, retirement becomes a countdown. You start doing secret math. How many years will this last? If I spend just a little more, what happens? Life becomes a calculation. Joy becomes a spending limit, and peace becomes guilt every time you swipe your card. Nothing corrodes a retiree's self-esteem more than realizing that the freedom they dreamed of is being sold at the price of survival. And this is where the narrative connects to the third mistake, a brutal, invisible mistake that hits people when they are most vulnerable, believing that the healthcare system will take care of you without additional cost. The third mistake strikes at the exact moment when retirees are the most fragile. It doesn't come as a shock at first. It comes disguised as confidence. Most Americans believe that once they turn 65 and qualify for Medicare, they're finally safe. They think the system will protect them, that the worst financial worries are over. But this belief is one of the most dangerous illusions of retirement, because Medicare does not cover everything. And what it doesn't cover is exactly what becomes most expensive as you age. Medicare covers basic medical needs, but it doesn't pay for dental care, hearing aids, vision, long-term care, advanced therapies, home assistance, assisted living, or many of the medications older adults depend on. These are not luxuries. A dental infection at 72 isn't cosmetic. It can send you to the hospital. Losing your hearing at 75 doesn't just make conversations difficult, it isolates you from your family. Needing long-term care at 80 isn't optional, it's survival. And the tragedy is that people only realize this when the bill arrives. A hearing aid that costs $3,000 per ear, a dental crown for $1,500, assisted living at $5,000 per month, home care at $25 an hour. A single hospitalization can wipe out years of savings in days. It's not the diagnosis that destroys retirement. It's the medical bill. This is where fear begins to grow. When you discover that something you assumed would be covered simply isn't. When you suddenly must choose between paying for a procedure or keeping the little money you have left. When you realize the healthcare system was not designed to protect retirees, but to charge them. And when the medical bills begin to pile up, many retirees turn to the only solution that seems logical: cutting costs at home. They cancel appointments, delay exams, avoid specialists, buy cheaper medication, or stop buying medication entirely. Not because they want to, but because they can't afford it. It is in this moment of vulnerability that another dangerous mistake appears. Keeping a large, expensive home, believing it's worth it because it's paid off. But when health begins to demand more money and more care, the home, once a symbol of achievement, becomes a financial prison. And that is exactly where the fourth mistake begins. The fourth mistake comes disguised as pride. It feels like stability, like achievement, like proof that a lifetime of work finally paid off. Many retirees look at their house and think, "I'm safe, it's paid off, this is my fortress." But in retirement, the real cost of a home isn't the mortgage, it's everything around it. Property taxes don't retire when you do, they climb. Insurance doesn't shrink, it gets more expensive, especially in areas with storms, fires, or aging infrastructure. Utilities rise, repairs never stop. A broken water heater, a leaking roof, air conditioning dying in midsummer. These aren't minor inconveniences. When you're 72 or 78, they are financial hits that strike without warning, and they rarely come alone. A home is not just four walls. It demands maintenance. It demands energy. It demands mobility. A healthy 65-year-old might climb stairs easily, but that staircase becomes a hazard at 73, a barrier at 78, and a threat at 82. Every room you don't use, every corner you can't clean, every hallway you struggle to walk through adds silent stress to your daily life. What once represented freedom becomes a reminder of aging, responsibility, and fragility. And here lies the cruel truth. A house doesn't pay for your medication. It doesn't pay for hospital bills. It doesn't pay for long-term care or assisted living. A home may increase your net worth, but it doesn't put food on your table or prescription drugs in your cabinet. Many retirees cling to their property because it feels wrong to sell it, like losing history, memories, identity. But keeping a house that drains your retirement is not a sign of strength. It is a slow form of surrender. There's another layer to this mistake, one no one wants to admit: isolation. When you're younger, a house is a social hub. After retirement, especially when children move away, it becomes larger, quieter, colder. Maintenance becomes a burden. Yard work becomes impossible. Every room echoes a version of the past that no longer exists. And when retirees finally face this reality, many make the worst possible decision. They stay even longer because moving seems too emotional, too late, too difficult. They think downsizing is an admission of defeat, when in fact, downsizing is one of the most powerful decisions a retiree can make. A smaller home isn't a downgrade. It's a strategy. It creates margin. It frees cash. It reduces stress. It gives you options. But retirees rarely take this step on their own. They delay it. until something forces them, a fall, a surgery, the death of a spouse, and suddenly they're not moving because they chose to. They're moving because they have no choice. And that feeling of being forced into change opens the door to the fifth mistake, a mistake driven not by pride or ignorance, but by love, sacrificing your own retirement to help children and family who should already be standing on their own. The fifth mistake doesn't begin with numbers. It begins with the heart. Parents, especially as they grow older, believe that support is their duty forever. They think, I've sacrificed my whole life for my children. I can sacrifice a little more. And so they do. They help with rent, credit card debt, car payments, medical bills, divorces, college expenses, grandchildren, until the day they realize that every dollar given was not a gift. It was a piece of their own future being burned. Retirement is not a battlefield, but millions of Americans treat it that way. They say yes when they should say no. They lend when they should protect. They fix other people's crises and destroy their own stability in the process. The tragedy is that these decisions almost never come from weakness. They come from love. And love, when mixed with guilt, becomes one of the most dangerous financial forces in old age. You worked 30, 40, sometimes 50 years. You sacrificed health, time, youth, weekends, family moments, all of that so you could reach an age where you would finally rest, finally breathe, finally live without fear. But when a grown child knocks on your door asking for help, your mind forgets the numbers. It remembers the baby you held, the teenager you guided, the adult you watched stumble. And so you open your wallet again and again. What most retirees don't understand is this: helping your children at the wrong time does not protect them. It ruins both of you. Because when the day arrives that you need help, when your body fails, when your savings run dry, when medical bills devour your peace, the same children you saved may not be able to save you. They have their own lives, their own problems, their own families, and the cycle repeats. The parent who rescued everyone now becomes the one who needs rescuing. There is a brutal truth that few are willing to say out loud. Your retirement is not a gift for your children. It is the final season of your life, and it is supposed to belong to you. You are not selfish for choosing dignity. You are not cruel for saying no. You are wise, because when you protect your retirement, you protect the version of yourself who will exist at 75, 80, 85, fragile, slower, more vulnerable, but still deserving of respect and comfort. And you protect your children from a future where they must shoulder the burden of your mistakes. If this message touched you, if it made you think, or if it opened your eyes to something you've ignored for too long, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and comment, "I choose my future." Your engagement tells the algorithm that this content matters, and it helps reach millions of retirees who need to hear this before it's too late.